Yeah, good. Okay, so we're good? We're going. Okay.
Dragon Ball Z card strategy here with another match for one of our local tournaments. We have Pete going up against good old James. We have, of course, Red Ascension Cooler going against Orange Adept Gohan. Kind of an unusual build. James ends his turn, holds on to one card. He goes over to good old Pete. He draws his 3. Looks like he's already chosen to pass. He's going to go ahead and power up Cooler. Okay, rejuvenate Sword Stab, and of course he passes. A lot of times you're going to want to have the right hand. Some decks can just what they call take off on you, where that is to say that even with the bad hand, they can get more in play, more actions, all that fun stuff before you even have a chance to do anything. Okay, he's got Joint Restraint Drill out. That's the one that boosts his attack by giving all of his physical attacks at +2 stages. He does end up passing and rejuvenating. Okay, Pete's turn begins. He draws 3. It looks like he's got his proxy, and I forget what the proxy is. Okay, Pete feels confident enough to declare combat. James draws his 3 in response. Opens up with a very good card to open up with when one does these sorts of things. Enrage Blast, that's 2 angers for 3 power stages. It is stopped with time. Time, as you know, stops all attacks. So that means that Pete is going to have to shake up his strategy from damage to simply trying to level or trying to avoid damage. Okay. He uses Gohan's level 1 physical attack.
So 5 life and 2, 3 stage.
Now the thing is, of course, if you allow James's deck to set up at all, it's going to start beating you down with horrendous stage damage.
Yep, it's considered style.
5 life cards in 3 stages. If he lets it hit him, as you know, the Orange Adept style says that your first styled attack that hits in combat gains hit, pull a drill out, so it can help to keep him comboing. For instance, he could pull out a good old possession drill, stuff like that. Okay, he takes the life card damage, unpleasant. He's going to go ahead and use the mastery from the hit that allows him to pull out a drill. He pulls out destruction drill, or is it disaster drill? Disaster drill is pretty neat. Basically, it helps him to boost his anger. Orange style has always had a hard time consistently gaining anger since the mastery itself, at least up to Adept, did not allow you to be able to gain anger from the mastery. James doing his customary shuffle after a search. And then it's actually going to be Pete's action next, which is kind of tricky. Like we say, without time, he can't damage James at all, so he'd have to play differently. If I was him, I'd probably whip out the mastery and then hope I have another 2 anger card in my deck. Because if I could do 2 things, 2 actions like that, that'd be a real winner.
I just attacked you, so here. I'll do remember time.
Mastery, Pete. Oh, well, here's a plan. Red Sword Stab. See, that he should have did the mastery. He would have boosted his anger 1, then it would have been his action again, and then he could have thrown it again. See, that's what happened. So he would have thrown the mastery, forced James to skip an action, it would have went back to him. Instead, he threw it at him for effect. It does no damage. Then he went back with Devastating Blow and lower Pete's anger 2 levels.
That was the bottom one, right? Yeah. So,
okay, he used, of course, Devastating Blow's effect. He banishes 3 cards from Pete's discard pile, which can be really annoying when you're Cooler, because Cooler can eventually get cards back.
3, 4.
Normally, Devastating Blow is a physical attack that does almost no damage, but it's a 9-stage physical with all the pluses and bonuses that old James has in play. He did a good job keeping the endurance from critting him down.
I use Cooler's power. Okay. Discard an energy card from the head to draw. So I do. Store the top card of your bonus life. Rejuvenate top card.
Okay, he used his level 1 Cooler's effect to do a little bit of hand cycling.
Raise my anger 2. Raise mine 3rd from Disaster Drill. Oh, man.
Oh, goodness. Gohan's Power Punch is thrown. He manages, with the effect of the drill plus the 2 anger on Gohan's Power Punch, to auto level, to go from 2 anger to 5, and then, of course, leveling, and then blam, making Gohan's Power Punch an unstoppable physical. He can still use endurance, he just...
10, 11 stages.
11 stage physical. So that kind of damage will wreck a guy. Hard part here is Pete can't even hope to stop it. Like you said, he can't even throw a block in front of it to do anything to mitigate it.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
And still critical damage, unfortunately. So Pete has gone from being nearly ready to transform to 0 anger in one combat. I'm starting to see the function of Red Ascension a little bit better. The ability to basically steal an action from your opponent and find a way to level.
Rebirth?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Okay, it looks like James is going to go ahead and discard a card.
exactly.
I'm not entirely sure how he did that. I think it's the Mastery. Oh, no, it's level 2 Gohan's Power. I apologize. That's where you get to ditch a card from your hand, a style card, then pull out any style, physical, or attack or block. I'm sorry, any styled attack or block card. So he grabs Orange Extension because that's going to help him to keep comboing. As you know, when he leveled, he did lose his drills. That's the thing with Adept. It gives you ways to get them back, but you basically have to manage them yourself. It's not like Adaptive Mastery that did all the work for you.
This blocked my hand from taking.
Okay, he pulls out, I forget the name of this particular drill. When it's played, he automatically gets to pull out a block. So he plays red blocking hand, raises anger. This is what I was talking about before when I said that he could have easily gotten off level 1. It wouldn't be so stuck.
What do you think so far? That's
So James is out of actions and stops there. And the combat is over. At least as far as I know.
Sorry. Check up drill.
At the end of combat, checkup drill, by the way, is the name of the card he placed into play. At the end of combat, he's allowed to rejuvenate 2. Anyone who's played Orange for long enough knows that it does have a difficulty with the long game most of the time. That is to say, it doesn't recur cards too readily.
So we're going to go in. Do you want to supernova? Do you have one down there? No, I don't. You
Oh, see, one of the ways that old Cooler deals with setups and drills that are in play is at the beginning of combat, he can, of course, target his Cooler Supernova, use it to immediately obliterate an opponent's setup or drill in play. It would be very effective to simply keep cycling those through, but they got banished by James's devastating blow card from before. Okay, James has the first action.
Go ahead.
Guess he's going to try to lower his anger. Devastating blow makes an appearance. Oof. Devastating blow lowers Pete's anger 2 levels. Yeah, he's going to resolve the immediate effects and go ahead and banish any 3 cards from Pete's discard pile. Yeah, sometimes you want to do your best to cripple a guy.
And it's going to be 80, which, once again, you're in B now. So E to B will be 4, 5, 6 stages, 7 stages.
6 stages from an AT plus 1 physical. That is amazing. So unfortunately, Cooler does take the damage.
1, 2, 3, 5, Mastery.
Okay, unfortunately, Pete does take 5 life cards of damage, and it takes critical damage and loses an anger in the process. Remember, of course, Orange Adept Mastery goes off. The first physical or first attack that hits, he gets to pull out a drill. He pulls out Disaster Drill. Like you said, that's key because that is going to allow Gohan to keep gaining anger throughout this match. Also, this particular effect is resolved in the process, and that's kind of stinky. It means that he's going to get the effect of Disaster Drill even before he's finished resolving Devastating Blow.
Oh, you're doing that again? I had to take 3 looks. I'm just trying to figure out how much anger I've got in my hand. You know what I'm saying? How many cards do you have? 3.
Oh, darn it. Pete is carrying 1 unusable card in his hand right now. Visiting the Past, of course, can't be used. Okay, he's going to use a physical attack that carries an instant critical damage effect, lowering good old Gohan's anger 1. James is going to weigh in it whether or not he cares to block it. Sometimes the damage just isn't enough.
That's my mistake. 3 life, you said?
Give me a 3 life physical. Not too bad. He ends up hitting him with all 3 life. James doesn't waste the endurance. Okay, that is successful.
After that, so I can't really do that.
James has a chance to respond here. Let's see what he's going to go with. Looks like one of the newer physicals out of the newer set.
That's my proxy. Okay, red stop.
Oh, the proxy, by the way, was red stop. That's the red Omni block. Stops physical or energy attacks. He used it. It's banished. He's going to fire an energy attack. Banishes good old disaster drill. 4 life cards. It does hit, since James is not prepared to take the block the damage.
I'll Gohan.
Okay, with Gohan's power, as you know, you may ditch any style card to go ahead and grab a attack or defense card from your deck. So thankfully, it's trimmed down enough to where you don't have to worry about somebody grabbing time or Enraged Blast. I guess technically you could grab Enraged Blast with Gohan.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I was like,
So he's going to grab a pretty hefty orange physical. This is one of those ones, of course, that allows him to be able to raise his anger when he pushes his own drills out of play. Lets him destroy his drills, and then they return at the end of combat, that kind of thing.
Go ahead and charge kick. Raise my anger too.
Charge kick. Orange charge kick is the name of it. He does automatically blow up checkup drill for the effect and raises his anger 2 levels.
5.
And Pete is no longer carrying 9-stage physical because, of course, Pete is no longer carrying any more blocks.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Ow! That was a heck of a hit. He gets critted again. Pete has taken lots of giant hits this game. It is rough to watch. Okay, that's going to end combat. Checkup drill is going to stay in the discard. Pete's turn begins. He does have Visiting the Past that he had been carrying in his hand for some time. Okay, he rejuvenates Cooler's Rebirth. Okay, Visiting the Past is going to make things a little interesting. Okay, looks like good old James is over there. Looks like he's got a good hand. Looks like he's got plenty to attack with. If he wanted to.
Let's go ahead and move on in. Put earrings on your side? Nope. This it. Start blocking him.
Okay, he's going to use Visiting the Past to go ahead and grab red knife hand block.
Well, if anything,
Be
that
nice.
means that I'm going to stop you from quite doubling around that.
Oh boy.
Raise my anger 1.
James is going to use Shoulder Slam, which lowers an opponent's anger 3 levels. And he has to stop it because it's AT plus AT. In other words, damage so big it's awful.
So F to C would be 4, so it'd be 8, 9, 10, 11 stages.
11 stages with no drills in play. Keep that in mind. This is not boosted by anything other than the cards effect, the mastery, and Gohan. Yeah, if I was Pete, I really would not take those stages. It's going to take entirely too long to get back up there. I also noticed that I haven't been paying attention to if Pete's been raising his anger at the end of combat. I apologize. I have not been paying enough attention to that. I'm not a Red Ascension player very often, so I have not been paying attention because I feel like he should have more anger than he does.
Sorry, that's my bad.
Okay. Remember, of course, the Gohan's power converts a Shoulder Slam to an orange style card, and that, of course, counts to the mastery. He's able to pull out a drill. Oh, I'm sorry. James is going for a little early. He did stop it.
Failed on me. Failed.
Oh, he did finally use the mastery, and it unfortunately did not give him the anger since he did banish Cooler's Rebirth from the process.
Combat card, AT plus 5.
Ooh. Okay, it's stopped by a physical only. Physical attack. In other words, you have to have physical combat. Things like hybrid defense and red stop won't stop it. Or drills.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. No crit. Okay, lower your anger.
Ouch, 13 stages.
Go ahead and grab
Okay, now since this orange style attack was successful, the mastery now goes off and he's able to pull out a drill. And he, of course, goes for disaster drill since that's key to his leveling and anger gain. Hey, he throws red shoulder grab. For the remainder of combat, all of his physical attacks or all of Pete's physical attacks are going to do critical damage, even if they do one stage. Remember, of course, if you have a card with a floating effect but should still be in the discard pile, make sure to turn it sideways in order for everyone to remember that there's a floating effect from the discard pile that's going on. At this point, he's orange refocus. He's going to go ahead and use it to pull a drill out.
I guess we're just gonna grab.
James is debating what drill to grab to be the most effective. No, it looks like he actually used it to grab a physical? Or to grab a block, pardon me. Oh, that's right, silly me, because he already chose checkup drill. Now that's what actually already pulled the block into play, which is actually neat to chain them into each other. Pete should be cutting that deck. In late game, you might not always.
Draw a card. It's going to be 18 plus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 stages. So you're an A, so F to A is 6. So 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Ouch, 16 power stages. You heard that right. Remember how I said if he gets a couple of drills in play, how it can go out of control? It'd be very difficult to come across enough endurance to be able to take such a hit without having to become critical damaged. Okay, and that is automatically stopped by the block that good old James just played, that red shoulder grab. It would have been actually pretty interesting because Cooler would have gained a little bit of power stages back from the mastery, rewarding for doing critical damage. So it would have been pretty neat.
I'll go ahead and I'll use Crying Drill to raise my anger 1.
Okay, he activates Crying Drill's effect. That's going to be used once per combat. It's going to just simply raise his anger 1 level. So for Orange, it's always had that problem leveling consistently. It would be a very helpful drill to have.
I use this since I can't pay to 5, nothing happens. Okay. And then I lower my MP to 0, raise my anger 1.
Okay, he's going to go ahead and use this red card. All of a sudden, I forget the name. It's the one that basically wiped the opponent's field, provided you have enough power stages to pay for it. It'd be very effective.
Leaping Punch, since I banish these cards, I get to draw cards. And it's going to be 4.
Okay, so he combos there. He gets rid of one of his own drills, and in the process, wow, he's able to activate a card. Unbelievable. Well, this could be it, fellas. Pete's taking so much damage, he could be done for right here. That was a pretty awesome trick. If he banished one of his own drills by a card effect, which he did, Leaping Punch managed to pull another attack out. I'm sorry, made him draw a card, I should say. Oh my. So he levels to level 4. He goes top of the power stages. He's in F. He throws a physical attack. This one's pretty beefy, as I recall. I believe it's AT plus 4 physical.
So it's going to be AT plus 4 and F. So 6, 10, 11.
And unfortunately, Pete has been KO'd by the sheer enormity of this attack. So James' deck is pretty straightforward. His extreme stage pressure damage, it's not really affected by his own AT all that much. It's pretty darn effective. It is not as drill dependent as, say, someone like Android 20 would be. The winner, of course, is Gohan with an extreme beatdown.